Colors in different languages can often mean very different things. Today I'm going to talk about colors in Chinese and the culture behind them.
Hello, my name is Barry Lee, the author of The New Chinese. It's a book about Chinese history, culture, and recent development. If you need a copy of this book, you can visit www.thenewchinese.com. The topic of this vlog was developed as I was traveling in Blue Mountains in New South Wales. It's a famous tourist attraction that I've been there for many times. It's called Blue Mountains because when you see from a far distance, the mountain looks bluish. It's called Blue Mountains in English, and in Chinese it's called Lan Shan. Lan is for blue, Shan is for mountain or hill. So let's start with this color blue. In English, blue is a type of music genre, and blue can sometimes mean sadness. And in Chinese, blue does not have these meanings. Blue as a color was rarely used in ancient Chinese to express an emotion or even to describe the blue sky. Normally we think the sky is blue in English, but in China, even in ancient times, we rarely say blue sky, but rather we say white sky, 苍天. Cang is 白, which is white in Chinese. So it's just an ancient way of describing the color of sky, which is 苍天, 苍穹. And they both mean white sky. So next, let's go with white. White is a color of purity in English. That's why girls wear white wedding dress when they get married. But in China, it's the exact opposite. You cannot wear white at a wedding. Instead, you wear red, because white in Chinese means funeral. So if you go to a funeral in China, you can either wear black or white, but in China, we specifically call wedding and funeral 红白喜事. Hong is red, Bai is white. So it's called red and white celebration. Red celebration is wedding, white celebration is funeral. White also means innocent if you use it against the opposite black. For example, 是非黑白, the black and white of truth. And here we use white and means good, innocent, and black means evil and bad. So white does have similar meanings between English and Chinese, but just be cautious not to use that color at a wedding. Having said that, Western-style weddings are becoming more and more popular in China these days. So it would not be completely unexpected if you see a Chinese bride wearing white dress. Actually, it's becoming more and more common. So let's talk about the opposite of white, black, now in Chinese. In Chinese, black is 黑. But in ancient Chinese, we normally say 皂. So we say 不分青红皂白. Do not distinct between green, red, black, and white. 青红皂白. 皂 is for black. The meaning of black in Chinese and English is quite similar in this way. Now, we just mentioned the color 青. Qing is a interesting color that is actually, I think it's between blue and green. In English, this color is called cyan. So if you use your printer, it's normally in the CMYK color setting. sign is the sea. And the Chinese start to recognize this world, not with green, not with blue, but more cyan color, which is in between blue and green. This is also why we rarely use blue to describe the nature in Chinese in the past. But we do use green a lot. We use green to describe water, 绿水. So we normally say 青山绿水. Qing here is the cyan color, and green is a common color that would describe water, because more water in China is actually lakes and rivers with reflection of mountains. So it's more green rather than blue, because there aren't that many ocean culture in China. And in China, the ocean, the seas are not as blue as you found them in California or in Sydney. We'll get to there later. But green is also interesting color that has a culture behind it. For example, if your wife cheated on you, in China we call it 戴绿帽子, wearing a green hat. So that's why Chinese men are very cautious when they wear a green hat. Actually, they do not wear a green hat or wear much of green color for that reason. We briefly talk about seas. When we think about seas in China, we normally think about the Yellow Sea, 黄海. Yellow is 黄. And the reason the Yellow Sea is yellow, I think, is because of the amount of sand in there, as from the Yellow River. Yellow River. The Yellow River is we call it the mother river of the Chinese people. It is where the Chinese culture has originated. Although a lot of foreigners don't know about the Yellow River, they're more familiar with the Yangtze River because it's close to Shanghai and the modern economic center for China. But the Yellow River region has been the center of China for over 1,000 years, and it's where the original Chinese culture was from. And yellow is a very important color for Chinese. We call ourselves 炎黄子孙, the descendants of the Yan tribe and the Huang tribe, and Huang means yellow. So it's also a very noble color in China as well. If you go to the Forbidden City and or any palace in China, and you will notice this thing is normal people are not so allowed to use yellow color in their construction or wearing them. It's only for the royal family or monks. This is because Huang has a similar pronunciation with Huang, which means emperor. So normal people, if they wear yellow, especially bright yellow everywhere, they might get in trouble in China in the past. And monks are also, they have always been highly respected, and they've been supported by the royal family, so they were always an exception. And in the Chinese culture, we highly respect monks in the ancient times, therefore they can wear the royal color as well. Next, let's talk about red. We mentioned at the beginning that red is a color for celebration, especially for weddings. And the wedding is called 红喜事, the red celebration in China. And red is also a very fortunate color. We have the Chinese New Year, where you have red decorations everywhere, on the window, on the roof, next to your door, and people wearing red in holidays as well for good luck. Here, I'd like to mention an interesting thing about the stock market in China. In Western countries, normally red means going down, and the other color, for example, green, means going up for the stock market. And in China, it's the exact opposite. If you have a going up in the stock market, you see the number is in red. And if you see a drop, it's in green. That is because the Chinese believe red is good. Red is for good luck. Therefore, when stock price going up, it's displayed in red. Now that is very important for whoever is going to do stock trade in China for the very first time, because this can surprise you. And in English, we call red a deficit. Well, we use red as deficit as well, but red never means lose money in China. It's always good. Just to make sure I don't miss out any important colors, I'm now going with the color sequence of a rainbow in Chinese. So in Chinese, when we talk about rainbow, there's 7 colors, just as English, and that is 赤橙黄绿青蓝紫. 赤 is red, so that's how we say red in ancient Chinese, is 赤. 橙 is orange. We have the orange color in the Chinese language, and I think it's just not very popular, and it's not very culturally significant for the Chinese. We didn't have orange the fruit. We had mandarin and a bunch of other citrus in China, and I just can't think of a important scenario where you have to go with the orange color, as this is one of the colors that you can almost ignore in China. This may also because there's no color dye for orange in China in the past, so you can't wear them on you. And on the other hand, the white, black, and red, they are all popular colors what people can wear. Just no one wears orange in China. On the other hand, the other color we haven't talked about, 紫, which is purple, is an important color in China that we need to talk about. 紫 also means a color of great fortune. So when something is magical happening, it's purple. 紫微星, the purple star, is also for the highest ranked god in the Taoist traditional Chinese myths, the purple star.
Well, that's the most basics of the Chinese colors and the brave culture behind them. I hope you found this information useful, and I look forward to see you next week. This is Barry Lee, the author of The New Chinese, How They Are Shaping Australia. You can find out more about me at www.thenewchinese.com. Bye.